Welcome to my WandaVision review, guys, and I rushed so much I don't have any pants on, but let's get to it, shall we? Review! Wow! Another episode of WandaVision that has just blown our minds, guys. They do it every single episode, and we are in for more during the rest of the season because we learned some stuff this episode that is pretty integral to the rest of the story. Before we dive in, I do want to hit you with a spoiler warning. If you haven't watched the episode yet, go ahead and watch the episode and come on back to my review right after, guys. But before we dive in, help a brother out, you guys. Hit me up with that HBO special. Help your boy get to 2K subscribers, guys. We are growing a community of geeks here to talk all things positive geeky. So hit that subscribe button if you like this content, and let's dive into WandaVision because, woo, what an episode this was, you guys. Like, so many different things. First and foremost, love the Malcolm in the Middle intro. That was awesome. And I love that we get Wiccan actually looking at the camera and addressing the camera. I love that. This is such a Malcolm in the Middle like episode with that portion, at least. Now, things start to get really crazy towards the middle of the episode, but towards the beginning, things just seem so fun and cool. I mean, we get the cool references to old outfits. Quicksilver is in his original outfit from his original character design. Wanda's in hers, Vision's in hers, Speed and Wiccan. Well, Speed is actually like a mini Quicksilver, so he's not quite Speed from the comics, but Wiccan is a little bit closer to like actually Doctor Strange Wiccan crossover, so that's kind of cool. I like those references to the old outfits, but crazy stuff happens in this episode. We get Herb again, we get to see him, and he drops a weird line in this episode. He asks Wanda, do you want to change anything? Or something along those lines, and it's like, holy smokes, they kind of know a little bit. They're starting to really mentally pick up on things like that, and we see Vision actually activate his original suit in this episode and actually like fly around like up above Westview and look and scale and actually look over the town and kind of survey what's going on exactly, because he is actually patrolling the town and sees people frozen. They're literally just like stiff, just stuck. I mean, it's just crazy to see that we see these weird kind of almost horror movie like poses that people have. They're just like kind of stuck wherever they are. It's really bizarre and crazy. So they are starting to pick up on things that are going on outside of Westview. You also have Monica, Darcy, Jimmy still doing their adventure as well, trying to get Wanda out of Westview. But what's crazy is, spoiler alert, we do see that Monica's cells have changed, so I'm thinking we're gonna get Spectrum or Photon, or maybe not Captain Marvel, but whatever they decide to call her, I think we're gonna get our Spectrum, guys, before the series ends. She's been in Westview and out of Westview, so that has caused her cells to change a couple of times. Love that, guys. I mean, this episode is just crazy. But then we go back into Westview and we see Wanda and Pietro having these exchanges throughout the episode that are just really weird. And he's referencing these things that she doesn't necessarily remember, and she's doing the same for him. So it's just kind of weird because you can tell that's not the Pietro she knows. And he even said, I came back looking different. So it was like, hold on, what's going on here? So are you the wrong Quicksilver? And well, totally, but it's like, is this the actual Fox X-Men Quicksilver? Did she somehow bring her brother back incorrectly or brought back another version of her brother? That's what I'm guessing, is that she actually does not have the powers perfected and brought back Pietro, but not the Pietro she remembers. So she's like starting to remember, like, this isn't you, man. Like, this isn't the Pietro I know. This isn't Aaron Taylor Johnson. So it was actually pretty crazy to get those line exchanges, and we get one little blip of a moment of him like as a dead corpse talking, and I'm like, oh my god. So that is blending the Aaron Taylor Johnson version with the Evan Peters version and making him like dead and like a zombie. So that was crazy. And we also get a Kick-Ass reference. So I love how meta this show is being about itself. But we see Vision actually mind activate Agnes. And what's a little weird to me with Agnes that's a little different than norm is that everybody else was frozen. She could still talk, and when he deactivated her mind, she's freaking out. She's like, you're an Avenger. Vision doesn't remember that he's an Avenger, so his mind has definitely been tampered and wiped. Once he actually decides to tamper with her mind and kind of release her from Wanda's spell, she starts freaking out and starts being like, you're an Avenger, you're an Avenger. And for me, I'm like, okay, I thought you were Agatha Harkness. Is that to throw us off a little bit? And when he reactivates her mind, she goes back to that cutesy neighbor mindset. But what's weird about that is she drove off and people were still frozen. So what is going on with her? Is she really Agatha? I don't know, guys. That's a little bit of wrench in the plans possibly, but she possibly still could be Agatha because she like drove off and was giggling, and I don't know. I'm like, dude, that's still a little sketchy. But wow, probably the grandiose moment of this episode was when Vision was actually trying to escape Westview and he was crumbling. And I'm assuming that's due to the fact that he's actually like dead outside of Westview, and this version of Vision possibly only exists in Westview. So he was crumbling apart, and Wiccan picks up on that and starts to hear not only Vision reaching out for asking for help, begging for help from Hayward, everybody else. I know Darcy was also there, so he's like asking these people, you gotta help the citizens. Not even necessarily helping him, but the people that are trapped. And there are people with tears coming down their eyes. Like, these people are trapped by Wanda. She literally has these people trapped, y'all. But you guys gotta let me know what you thought about this episode, because right after we see Vision like reaching out, Wiccan picks up on that, and of course, Wanda, once Wiccan runs up to Wanda, sorry guys, it's like 1 a.m, your boy's struggling. Wanda actually decides to spread Westview out even further, and it looks to me like everything that is now being consumed in the Westview is some kind of circus. So guys, this is a crazy episode. Wanda has now expanded Westview. Guess who's in Westview now? Darcy. So it's going to be interesting to see what her character morphs into, if she'll end up having powers in the future since Monica does. But I'm not entirely sure where they're going to go with that storyline. Guys, you gotta let me know what you think down in the comments. What do you think about Quicksilver and this whole like wrong Pietro? There was a moment in the episode where he said, I heard you calling and I came. So that to me sounds like, yes, this is the wrong Pietro. They're both in the wrong situation here. And he even sits her down in the episode and asks her, how did you do all this? I'm not your husband, I'm not your kids, you can let me know. And she actually decides to open up to him. So I really want to know what is going on with this Quicksilver, y'all. Like, there's just so many questions that are unanswered in WandaVision, guys, but this is another fantastic episode. No huge reveals here yet, but I just feel like something else is going on. When Wanda's eyes activate, it makes me wonder, is she fully aware? Is somebody telling her you can have more? Because it feels like there's some kind of influence here. She says in the episode that she felt lonely. And to me, that's some vulnerability that somebody could be preying on, whether it's Mephisto, Nightmare, Agatha Harkness. I'm not entirely sure who it could be, guys, so you let me know down in the comments your theories, your thoughts. What do you think about this episode? This was another great episode. It had some cool horror elements in it. I really enjoy the line exchanges between Quicksilver, Tommy and Billy, and also between Wanda and Pietro. Those are some really crazy lines they drop in this episode that give us some hints to what's going to happen later in the season. We got 3 episodes left, guys, and I am just, I don't even know what to think of this episode. There is so much going on, so much to unpack, you guys. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments, though, and if you're new here, hook me up with that HBO special, y'all. Help a brother out. Let's get to 2K together, and we'll see you next time on Geekly Goods.